Bryon Powell, Geoff Roes here at the hills of Virginia before the UROC 100k. Seen a lot of Geoff this summer at Western States and UTMB and now here. Unfortunately, Geoff, you didn't have the race you would have liked at UTMB. Can you share a couple thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, still a month later, I don't really know exactly what went wrong, but it was a fun experience. I was glad I was there, and a lot of us had a tough run that day. It's interesting trying to piece together, if it's like you feel like your case is isolated, you can look at like, well, this and this and this maybe led to it, but there were so many runners who had a similar experience. You being one of them.
Yeah.
It's harder because it's like, well, how could there be such a kind of this collective thing?
Yeah, whether it was just pushing back the start or the cold weather, wet and then cold weather, who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
But after that, you sort of said publicly that you were taking some time off, both from racing but also just from running, period. And then this week I wrote you just to confirm that you weren't running UROC, and you said you're in. What's happened over? I mean, you said a little bit in our written interview, but
yeah, I mean, I took like 10 days off and was definitely figuring I would take more than that, and was not planning on running here. But when I started doing some short, easy runs after 10 days, I was feeling not great right at first, but my reaction was I wanted to take some time and just totally reset my mind and my body. And I thought it would be a lot longer, but as soon as I started running again, my reaction was like, I want to run again soon, like, train for something and race. And ideally, I would have loved it if this were, for my timing, if this were a month from now, it would have probably worked better. But then it was like, you know what, this is going to be a cool event that like I kind of chose early on in the year that I wanted to be a part of, and if I have anything in me to be here running it, I want to be here. And then, subsequently since then, the last 10 days especially, I felt really pretty good. So
yeah, you're saying like, you might be coming into this, you're not going to be overtrained coming to the race, and that might benefit you. I mean, tell us about this loop you've done up in the Indian Peaks Wilderness.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of days ago, I did a nice, like, almost, it wasn't super long, almost 3 hour, like 17 miler up there, but it was like a run that I did it a year ago and felt really pretty horrible with the altitude. It's like mostly above 10,000, upwards of 12,000 feet. But just on Tuesday, did that really hard, like an hour faster than I ran the same loop a year ago.
Well, that bodes well for your fitness. It was interesting. We were driving over here with a group of us, and we were sort of talking about your pre-race philosophy and how, like, maybe a couple years ago you were more analytical and very focused on individual events and thinking of them beforehand. But so what's your philosophy now in the days leading up to a race, or the weeks even leading up to a race?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more of a view of like a race just being, to some degree, just another run I'm going on. And so, definitely 2 years ago, I wouldn't have run as hard and long of a run as I just did on Tuesday, because I would have really been, everything leading up would have been preparing for tomorrow. And, I'm still certainly trying to prepare, but it's definitely more just like, just take it as it comes. And,
now,
tomorrow will be the day that I sort of really actually focus on tomorrow's run, I guess.
Could that be beneficial in that, you're not rest tapering for 2 or 3 weeks, but it allows you to have those magical days like Tuesday where you just go out and you nail and you build your confidence. And
yeah, I mean, I think it's, there's benefits probably to both approaches. There's probably times where I'm a little underprepared on race day in terms of like whether I haven't tapered enough or whether I just haven't like analyzed things about the course and about the field.
Speaking of which, have you looked or heard about the course at all, and how do you think that plays into your strengths? I mean, in sort of thinking about it before the race, I think you have a quite varied skill set. Like, how does that play into this race?
Yeah, I mean, I think it should suit me well. I think there's going to be, there's a lot of road running. I don't run much on roads. I pretty much don't train on roads at all. But I don't feel like races with a fair amount of road have ever like hurt me much in terms of competition. And there's also, it seems like, going to be some pretty rugged, muddy, nasty, sloppy trail, and I generally do well on that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
There's a bunch of other top competitors here, and Ian Sharman and Dave Mackey and Mike Bordian and Dave James and some other young people or shorter distance trail runners we don't know as much about. Are you at all looking forward to, I'm not going to ask the who's going to challenge for the win, but you know, are there people like you've had some really cool shared experiences over the last few years, like sharing the first 50 or whatever miles of a race with somebody. Do you think tomorrow could be a day like that, or do you think that quite varied terrain and skills of the runners are going to mean that people are just passing? You know, Mike Warding's going to pull ahead on the road section, and then Dave Mackey's going to bomb the downhill, or how do you see that?
I mean, I think that's probably fairly likely to be a lot of leapfrogging with different runners with different strengths, and if you've got significantly different types of running within the same course. So, I don't know if we'll end up having like at the front of the pack, 2 or 3 runners run stride for 50 miles. We might. I think Dave and I have fairly similar. I mean, we're both pretty strong all the way around without any like huge like weaknesses, but he does tend to bomb the downhills a little harder than I do. So probably early in the race, like especially, like I'm not gonna, if he's running downhills like he usually does, I won't be trying to stay with him on the downhills. But yeah, I mean, I would think probably of the main front runners that people are focusing on. I mean, maybe Dave and I would be the most likely to run several miles, like stride for stride. We did it North Face last year, 35 miles together. So
cool. What are you going to be wearing on your feet? It's pouring today. I mean, it's wet out there normally, but it's drenching rains out there today. What shoes are you going to be?
I'll be wearing the Mountain Masochist, like always, but it'll, I think, be challenging for everybody in terms of the mud and the rain and be slick.
Are you wearing the Mountain Masochist one, or have you dabbled at all with the Mountain Masochist 2 with the fluid post?
I haven't yet. No, the original is what I'll be wearing.
Yeah, so you're not the off-size run yet. Yeah. Well, cool. Best of luck tomorrow, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Sure. Thanks.